In fact, even Tylenol in 2017 tweeted out, "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant."
Wait, why did they say?
Thank you for taking time to voice your concerns today. So somebody had tweeted at them, and that was the response. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant.
Who's been saying to use it?
So RFK made huge headlines when he came out and said that, guess what is connected to autism and ADD? Guess what it is? It's called Tylenol. Here, let's listen. Uh-oh, is it not working? Oh, here we go.
Important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. First, HHS will act on acetaminophen. The FDA is responding to clinical and laboratory studies that suggest a potential association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including later diagnosis for ADHD and autism. Scientists have proposed biological mechanisms linking prenatal acetaminophen exposure to altered brain development. We have also evaluated the contrary studies that show no association. Today, the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects.
So he just said that there's been clinical studies linking acetaminophen, Tylenol, to autism and ADHD if taken during pregnancy. He's also said that though it's the only thing that's safe enough to take when you're pregnant, even though it's not 100% safe, it can cause those things because you have to get down a fever. So he's given you the hard science. This is hard science that he's giving you, okay? So he's not saying to never take it when you're pregnant. That's not what he's saying.
HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment in the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration, and only when.
So he's saying he's telling clinicians that if you have to prescribe Tylenol when a woman's pregnant, do it at the lowest dose and for the least amount of time possible. So he's not saying don't do it.
Treatment is required. Furthermore, thanks to the politicization of science, the safety of acetaminophen against the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children has never been validated.
Never.
Prudent medicine, therefore, suggests caution in acetaminophen use by young children, especially since strong evidence also has associated it with liver toxicity. Some studies have also found the use of acetaminophen in children can potentially prolong viral illnesses. FDA will drive new research to safeguard mothers, children, and families. In addition to a possible acetaminophen connection to autism for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers, our research has revealed that folate deficiency in a child's brain can lead to autism.
So listen to this stark raving lunatic using data from fringe conspiracy organizations like, the FDA and the CDC.
Jimmy, I don't know if anybody out there has ever been a junkie like me who was on Oxycontin a lot, but the reason Oxycontin you take so much of is there's no acetaminophen in it. See, Vicodins or regular Percocets, they've got acetaminophen, which can make you go deaf, like Rush Limbaugh did when he was abusing oxycodone. So anybody, and I thought most people had abused opiates in America. Anybody that ever has knows that Tylenol that they put in there is poison. The whole pill Oxycontin was just getting the opiate without the Tylenol to poison you. And I would be like, why are they putting it in? And they say it's to discourage abuse because it'll kill you. And also because you got to have Tylenol and everything because Tylenol makes money off it.
So he's really relying on a study from Harvard and Johns Hopkins. So
who are they?
This is from Harvard. Using acetaminophen during pregnancy may increase children's autism and ADHD risk. That's from Harvard. So I don't know, maybe they can say Harvard is now fringe and crazy and kooky, and maybe Harvard has a brainworm. Or maybe that Harvard is another group of drug-crazed hippies making up fake research in their treehouse. Who knows? What does Harvard University know that some antidepressant sponge television writer doesn't know? Am I right? Come on. When children are exposed to acetaminophen, also known by the brand name Tylenol, or as paracetamol, I guess that's how you say it. That's what they refer to it in Europe. During pregnancy, they may be more likely to develop neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism and ADHD. This is right from Harvard. The study was published August 14th in BMC Environmental Health. Andrea Baccarelli, dean of the faculty at Harvard, T.H. Chan School of Public Health and professor of environmental health, was senior author. The study was led by the Icahn School of Medicine and Mount Sinai and also included co-authors from other institutions. The researchers analyzed results from 46 previous studies worldwide that investigated the potential link between prenatal acetaminophen use and subsequent NDDs in children. Again, this is from Harvard. The researchers used the Navigation Guide Systematic Review methodology, which is a gold standard framework for synthesizing and evaluating environmental health data, which enabled them to conduct a rigorous, comprehensive analysis that supported evidence of an association between acetaminophen exposure during pregnancy and an increased incidence of NDDs. This research has noted that while steps should be taken to limit acetaminophen use, the drug is important for treating pain and fever during pregnancy, which can also harm the developing fetus. So high fever can raise the risk of neural tube defects and preterm birth. So if the mother is sick and has a high fever, you want to get it down. And so you want to give them, this is what they're saying. So you have to risk the benefits outweigh the risk. You give it to them, but the lowest dose possible for the shortest time. We recommend judicious acetaminophen use, lowest effective dose, shortest duration, under medical guidance tailored to the individual risk-benefit assessments rather than a broad limitation. That's exactly what RFK just said in his speech. In fact, even Tylenol in 2017 tweeted out, "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant."
Wait, why did they say?
Thank you for taking time to voice your concerns today. So somebody had tweeted at them, and that was the response. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant.
Who's been saying to use it?
So they don't recommend it. They leave it up to your clinician, your doctor, or whoever's taking care of you. I'll take shit that modern liberal parents don't know about. How about that? And if you want to know so the association isn't directly from acetaminophen. So what acetaminophen does, she's going to explain to you how does taking acetaminophen when you're pregnant, what is the mechanism that leads you to autism and ADHD? She's going to explain it to you.
First, if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I have a PhD in cellular and molecular biology from University of Michigan that was done in the Department of Immunology, and I have been studying the childhood schedule and injections for about 10 years hardcore now. So Tylenol is associated with autism because it depletes the body's major antioxidant, glutathione. Glutathione is... So
it depletes this thing called glutathione. And who knew that was connected to autism? But she's going to tell you.
What mops up inflammation in the body. And when the body is critically depleted of it, it either goes septic or, especially in young or premature infants, they can actually pass away. It can cause things like SIDS. So the maintenance of glutathione is extremely important. And even doing something like mom taking vitamin C as a supplement while she's nursing can be critical in helping mom and the baby to resupply glutathione. So what happens is if your body doesn't have enough glutathione, it gets extremely inflamed and it just can't handle cellular stress. And the inflamed state of the brain is what is highly associated with neurological disorders such as autism or ADHD. Now, that said, glutathione is extremely depleted when children get injections, when your immune system is hyperactivated. So we know this even in pregnant mothers. If their immune system is hyperactivated, it could be by an injection, or it could just be by a very severe infection, like something like appendicitis, is going to cause a lot of inflammation and deplete glutathione. So it isn't just Tylenol that is going to deplete glutathione. It is any form of acute immune activation, which is going to include all of these injections on the childhood schedule. So make no mistake, this immune activation is going to deplete glutathione. And if you combine an immune activation, like a well child visit, with Tylenol, it is a double whammy, completely depleting that child's glutathione supplies and really making it very likely that the body is not going to be able to fend off brain inflammation. And so we know that many injections are associated with encephalitis. So most of the time the body can, that just means an inflammation of the brain. We know most of the time the body can get ahead of that and use intracellular things like glutathione to reduce inflammation. But if the body doesn't have those stores, that brain inflammation is going to rage on and it is going to continually deplete the body's system of things like vitamin D, vitamin A, and zinc, and glutathione, and eventually the child's body just can't handle it anymore. And some children may actually pass away. Others are going to develop all kinds of problems, including things like autism. So I hope this helps you understand why Tylenol and other things, immune activation, are associated with brain inflammation, which is one of the root causes or the causal factors in developing symptoms of the spectrum.
So there you go, super sciencey stuff. RFK's out there. Nobody's telling you about this, except now RFK brings it up, and half the world calls him crazy.
There's women on TikTok downing tons of Tylenol while they're pregnant.
Yes.
To say, F you, RFK.
So they're pregnant and they're making videos of themselves taking Tylenol as an FU to RFK. That is the craziest thing. So
outside of any autism news,
so if
Tylenol was already poisoned, every idiot.
Yeah, so
it'll destroy your liver.
So if RFK said, hey, you know what? Oxygen is really good for you. You should try to breathe a lot. Would they hold their breath till they died?
Yes, they've been programmed. This is what I was trying to explain to John Kiriakou. You don't notice the mass programming? That's not normal shit to do.
That's not normal.
Forget everything you've ever known in all of your life because you hate RFK for taking the fluoride that made your kid dumb out of the water. That's insane. So that's not normal. That's a thing you get programmed with off of our many devices.
So you can send that to any of your shitlib friends, and this woman is 10 times smarter than any of them, and they're going to ignore it. They're going to say you're not a virologist. I'm like, but she is.
They've been radicalized, Jimmy.
Yeah,
by Big Fauci.
And did you know that actually there was a lawsuit against Tylenol over this just recently, and it got thrown out of court? Let's watch. This is from 2023, so just 2 years ago.
Fox Business Alert, take a look at shares of Kenvue. They are up about 1.6%. Kenvue is the consumer products unit J&J spun off back in August. Shares hitting a 1-month high at this hour after it was...
Oh, by the way, so they spun off Tylenol to a different company, right? So for decades it was... And then all of a sudden 2 years ago they spun them off into its own company. Why? Because they knew they were going to get sued and stuff was going to come to the fore.
Like the shitty airline. Like when those shitty airlines that crash, they're owned by a bigger airline. Who, all right, go ahead, sue it in oblivion. We'll just start a new shitty airline.
That's right.
Yep.
So that's what happened. So watch this.
Received a favorable court ruling related to a class action lawsuit. The lawsuit claimed that exposure to Tylenol during pregnancy caused birth disorders. The federal judge in the case issued an order that will not allow the plaintiffs to present evidence for a link between prenatal exposure to Tylenol and autism or ADHD. JP Morgan added Kenvue to its focus list, saying the ruling effectively collapses the plaintiff's case in this litigation.
And that was that. The judge throws it out. That's that. Even though we have studies from Johns Hopkins, we have studies from Harvard, and now we have the head of the HHS and the president of the United States. But still, it's amazing. So
I can't wait for those follow-up TikToks from those acetaminophen moms.
Yes, and
that should be real fun.
Yeah, my kid is autistic, but it's not from that.
Remember thalidomide, Jimmy? I just imagine that, like RFK, don't do thalidomide, and you got a bunch of dancing idiot pregnant women taking thalidomide.
I don't know what's going on with people, but anyway, there it is. I still think there's bigger causes than Tylenol use, and I'm sure RFK does, and that's why he's looking into the vaccine schedule, the child vaccine schedule, and he wants to have real research, real science done on it. And we want to test the vaccines that they give kids against the placebo. And they've never been tested against placebos. And that's been debunked a million times already, most recently by Aaron Siri in Congress. Come see me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Brisbane, Burbank, California the day after Thanksgiving, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, RFK Jr. is making reforms to organ donation policy, and for shocking reasons. You guys have seen this horrifying story about people's organs being harvested while they're still showing signs of life as their family begs for them to stop the surgery. Click the video on the screen to watch.